Well, thank you very much, David, and a pleasure to be here today with your audience and talking a bit more about Beston Global Foods. Next slide, please. Beston Global Foods is a relatively young company. We have been created back in 2012. We are celebrating this year our 10-year journey, and what a journey it has been. We started very much the company, which is based out of South Australia in Adelaide, with a vision of taking to the world the world's best food and the best dairy type of products, the best protein type of products coming out of dairy, as well as our meat business. The business started very much with the acquisition of 2 manufacturing facilities from Murray Goulburn. You probably remember the largest dairy cooperative in Australia back in 2012, and since then there has been we divide the company into 2 phases initially, which was largely the rebuild phase in phase 1, where we had to actually take the manufacturing facilities back to a global standard, not only from a manufacturing quality point of view, but also from the point of view of reliability. And we brought into those sites probably the best technology that is available in the world. We brought the best Italian machines for manufacturing mozzarella, for example. And we also brought a very unique technology in terms of extracting a bioactive ingredient out of raw milk called lactoferrin. And throughout this phase 1 has been really to build up that technology and that capability. Phase 2 for us has been largely to build our supply capabilities throughout the state of South Australia, something that we are incredibly proud of. We started with very humble beginnings of only collecting approximately 15 million liters of milk from dairy farmers throughout the state of South Australia, to now being consolidated largely as the biggest processor of dairy in the state, where we are processing approximately 30 to 35% of what the state produces in terms of dairy, and not only selling that domestically, but also exporting to multiple parts of the world. And we're now embarking on an exciting, what we feel, which is a phase 3 of the company, which is all about consolidating our growth, and also what we describe as valorizing our portfolio in the best way possible, effectively being very selective about the markets, the clients, and the channels that we would be operating on. So phase 3 for us is where the opportunity for our shareholders to start capitalizing from the investment at Beston starts to take place. Next slide, please. We have been, as I mentioned, throughout the phase 1 and 2, very much focused on the growth. We have been recognized as one of the fastest growing food companies across Asia Pacific, with a year-on-year growth revenues almost by 111%. Again, being very successful around the recruitment of dairy farmers. And I'm incredibly proud of the equity that Beston has with our dairy farming families. We went through probably now the last month or so through what I would describe probably the most competitive dairy recruitment season that I've been seeing in my career, in my 27-year career in dairy. And clearly we came out incredibly strong. And actually just today we have issued a business trading update to our shareholders and investors, indicating that we have been able to secure our milk for next season. And again, we are very well placed to confirm our guidance for the next 12 months. We mentioned about building capability. One product that we're incredibly proud of is our mozzarella. Just about 2 months ago, we have been recognized by the Dairy Industry Association in Australia, which is a national body, as producing the best quality mozzarella in the country. Award that was very close to the hearts of our people in J Voice, simply because we have been focused on almost tripling our output of mozzarella, again, coming from 4,000 tons back in 2019 to now close to 16,000 tons last financial year. So, and this is a product, again, exported to multiple clients and channels and markets around the world. We received 161 major industry awards recognizing the quality of our products. Largely all types of cheeses that we make. We're very proud of, again, of the type of cheddars that we make in the mozzarellas, the parmesans, the gruyères, you know, very, very high quality type of cheeses, and something that, again, very recognized by the industry. I mentioned about the acquisition of our nutraceutical plant and the ability to extract these, you know, what we call the pink gold out of milk, which is, again, a bioactive ingredient called lactoferrin. Lactoferrin is an ingredient largely used by food companies to claim immunity properties on their labels. For example, lactoferrin is widely used across the infant formula industry, especially in markets like China. It is something now in our trading update today, something that we also revalidated very successfully, the fact that we have now sold largely our entire production of lactoferrin for the F23 season, which is about 60 metric tons of products. Beston is now recognized as one of the largest lactoferrin producers in the Southern Hemispheres, and we are accounting of approximately 5% of the world's production of lactoferrin today. So we'll continue to accelerate growth on that important part of the company. Next slide, please. Going to that phase 3, which is, again, the valorization of our portfolio and making sure that the company does deliver against its profit targets after that significant growth journey that we have been having. In terms of milk supply, as I mentioned, we are securing about 30% of the entire South Australian milk, and we are targeting further growth. In our update today, we are indicating that for the F23 season, we have signed up approximately over 155 million liters. So we are ahead of where we landed in F22. And we are giving an update about our sales pipeline. We have much more demand what we can produce today. Again, a huge testament about the high quality products that I was referring early on, and a huge testament about the performance of our 3 manufacturing facilities. We are running our facilities with very, very high utilization. One of our sites, probably our largest manufacturing facility, which is the J Voice facility, is now running about 90% utilization, with, again, a very stable plant and yield being achieved across the entire portfolio. And the portfolio here is not only mozzarella, but we are also producing whey proteins as a byproduct of producing cheese, and we are also producing cream cheese and butter type of products. We are focusing on product mix again. You know, in the dairy universe, different types of product streams, they do valorize differently. For example, cheese prices, they have a tendency of being a little bit more stable than milk powders, for example. So we are taking a very proactive stance on making sure that we extract the maximum value possible on every bucket of milk that we are collecting from our farmers. And then finally, a bit of an update on that dairy nutraceuticals part of our business, which, again, something we're very proud of, that we are now not only selling to leading Australian food companies, but also make an important inroad into the nutraceutical marketplace in countries like South Korea, India. We starting a relationship with a large nutraceutical enterprise in the US, and also Eastern and Western Europe. Countries like Italy and Poland is starting to import the product from us. Next slide, please. In terms of our strategy, we have effectively in the company two large business units. One is our food and beverages business unit, focus on our retail, food services, and also export business. Largely focus again on the everyday dairy. These are the cheeses, for example. These are the butters, the creams, the cream cheeses, what we described as everyday dairy. And on the other side, we have the bioactive business unit, which is recognize the complexity about the functional nutrition that lactoferrin as an ingredient brings to our clients. And this is a far more specialized business unit that talks about clinical research, marketing, and so forth. And this is underpinned by obviously our operations excellence focus and our sustainability excellence focus in terms of especially reducing our carbon footprint throughout the dairy supply chain across South Australia. We do believe that being the largest processor of dairy in the state, we have a very big social responsibility around making sure that the carbon footprint is obviously mitigated. So we do have a plan in the company to totally decarbonize our supply chains and also even regenerate some of the native bush that our farmers are embarking with us. Very innovative as well. We do have a trialing program around methane emission reduction, with which, as you know, methane is generated by the cows producing dairy, producing milk, and by change on their diets, we are in a position to mitigate that, and we are creating some very exciting partnerships on that area, and really pioneer in that space in our state. Next slide, please. Our business in a nutshell, our dairy business accounts by about 90% of our group's revenue, and we also have a meat company in the state of Victoria, where we are processing meat into products like hamburgers, meatballs, sausages, and very soon we're also embarking into the plant-based protein space, a category that is growing almost exponentially around the world today. So we are it's something that we are very excited to also work on. The dairy portfolio, again, the main products, the main streams that we are working on, we continue to focus on our mozzarella business. The exciting part of mozzarella, and one thing that we are that differentiates Beston from other processors, is our ability to really tailor product specifications to the client. I'll give an example. The consumption of a pizza in a market like the Philippines is very different to a consumption of pizza in Australia. The Filipino consumer do appreciate a different type of stretching in that pizza. They appreciate a different type of blistering after the cooking process of the pizza. So being able to read those needs and being able to differentiate our products, it is something that is unique about our business. We also produce a very premium range of harder type of cheeses in our Murray Bridge site, where we are making cheddar type of products, parmesans, and we are also exporting even to places like Malta, a very unique type of cheese that we developed there. Lactoferrin, as I mentioned, one thing that is I'm very proud to update the market even today was that our initial view is that we would sell only 10 metric tons of lactoferrin. We're taking a conservative view approximately 3 months ago, but we were updating today that we have been able to secure sales agreements of approximately 16 metric tons of lactoferrin for the F23 season, that it will be consuming largely our entire production. So a very good news for our investors and shareholders today. Our dairy, other dairy, again, our cream cheeses, our butters, will continue to focus on making sure that the customer base values our provenance. And finally, new revenue streams. We have developed a very sound partnership with Mondelez in South Australia. We are in some conversations with Saputo in Victoria for some tolling arrangements of our milk into products that will continue to complement our portfolio. Next slide, please. Just to give the audience a bit of our journey this far, as I mentioned, way back in F18, our milk supplies were significantly lower than where we are today. So we have been able to really work hard with our farmers to grow total milk supplies. And I could not miss the chance to also update here that this journey has been in contrast to the total national production of dairy in Australia. So national production has been declining on the back of significant weather conditions, on the back of farmer retirements throughout the nation, and the fact that we have been able to significantly grow our milk pool has been actually quite a positive journey for our company. Again, our delivery on mozzarella production and the reliability of our factory, again, very stable now. In our F23 guidance, we are providing that we are maintaining that level of production versus F22 at 15 to 16,000 tons of product. Lactoferrin the same, we are maintaining between 16 to 19 tons of production into F23, very much aligned to F22. And as you can see, our dairy revenues moving very strongly throughout the years. We are expecting this year to be $150 to $180 million business only on dairy, where complemented by our food or meat company, we are expecting to be as close as possible to the $200 million mark for dairy sales revenues. Sorry, for total company sales revenues, apologies. Next slide, please. Again, a bit of that guidance. Milk supply, we very proud of that 155 to 175 million liters. Don't want to repeat here, but we are in our update today to our shareholders, we have reaffirmed our guidance despite a huge evolution of milk price that we have experienced over the last month. Next slide, please. I mentioned about our meat business. We also complemented our portfolio with a water portfolio that is an alkaline functional beverage business that we have in South Australia, something that we are also expecting to grow over the course of next couple coming months. And finally, I think that's the last slide. Look, we are very excited about our future, where the company is going after many years of a rebuild strategy followed by growth. We do believe that F23 will mark the beginning of sustainable earnings for our shareholders, and even in today's update to our investors, we have provided that reassurance. So very excited about our future, David. I'll leave it to you probably for questions.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Two of my favourite topics, cheese and meats. So we could talk about that all day long, and I might have to get on a plane and come over and check out the facilities. But I do have some questions that have come through. In terms of dairy recruitment, how does that work?
We effectively every year we renew contracts with our farmers, David. So by the way, we were one of the first companies in Australia providing farmers longer term contracts in terms of giving farmers a reassurance that their milk will be collected every day and they will be getting a fair paycheck for their hard work. So you know, a combination of different levels of contracts, annual contracts. Some farmers prefer more longer-term contracts.
And in terms of your selling process, do you sell 12 months in advance, 6 months, 18 months? How does that work?
Look at different contracts as well, David. In our domestic business, I'll give you an example. We do have a very strong relationship with Woolies nationwide. We have long-term contracts with Woolies, but pricing gets reviewed, obviously on the back of the significant volatility that exists today in overall commodity prices, which dairy is no exception. So we have effectively demand security from clients to us, where prices gets discovered sometimes in 3 months, sometimes in 6 months, sometimes in 12 months. But given the volatility, we're staying away from 12-month fixed price type of agreements. So.
And in terms of lactoferrin, which has clearly expanded and added significant revenue and profit opportunities to your business, who are your peers in the space and how do you grow more of that market share? Sure.
Look, in Australia, we have essentially 4 manufacturers of lactoferrin. Bega, Saputo, us, and Nomi, which is previously known as Freedom Foods. We are different, David, because we process lactoferrin on a freeze drying type of technology, provides the protein with a much more bioactivity, which means much more pure from the point of view of that type of protein, especially into infant formula applications, right? 65% of the global market of lactoferrin today is still infant formula, even though lactoferrin is being discovered by some exciting new categories, like even pet food today. The pet food industry is using lactoferrin, right? And for example, skincare products or personal care products are using lactoferrin today. So we are expanding throughout those different channels and throughout these different product applications here.
Great, a fantastic presentation. And if there is ever a time when you would say to an investor or a potential investor, your due diligence is buy the product, try it out before making an investment decision, this is exactly the company to do that with, and I'll make sure I'll do the same. Fabrizio, thank you very much for a great presentation. We'll see you again soon.
A pleasure. Thank you, David.